Hi there, my name is Madison. If you're watching this, thanks for watching. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about my history with gut health and my long struggle / journey of gut health. So today I will just kind of be outlining exactly what I've been through, what's to come, and hopefully it can help someone out there too. I know I'm not the only one who struggles with gut health, and it's honestly not a topic that's talked about enough. So I'll go ahead and get started for you. It all kind of started about, 9 years now? Wow, yeah, 9 years ago. I'll just start from the very beginning. So 9 years ago, I got super sick with, I think, a stomach flu, and all those wonderful symptoms that come along with having a stomach flu. So, diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, all that good stuff. Can't keep anything down. I was pretty sick from that. And then after that, the symptoms started to persist. And a month, 2 months go by, I'm still feeling extremely sick every single time I ate. And at first I thought it was just still symptoms of the stomach flu, but then I was like, 2 months later, this is not the stomach flu anymore. And they were bad, the symptoms. Every single time I eat, I would be in pain. I would be in extreme pain. I would not be able, if I ate, I would be down that night. The only thing that would make me feel better was coconut water or sleeping it off, and only sleeping on I think it was my left side that it was okay to sleep on. If I wanted to sleep on my right side, no way. My body did not like that. It was just excruciating pain. Which was not normal for a 14-year-old girl to be going through. And so my parents and I went to the doctors, who then referred us to a gastroenterologist, and there they had offered up the suggestion of an endoscopy. And at this point, we had no idea what was going on. We were desperate, so I did do an endoscopy. And if you don't know what endoscopy is, basically it's a surgical procedure. They put you out and stuck a little camera down my throat, took some pictures of the inside of my stomach, and then also biopsied some of the tissue in my stomach. And so I woke up, got the results a few days later, and they had said that my stomach was completely ulcerated. I had about 2 or 3 full ulcers and about 10 to 15 forming. And so no wonder I was in so much pain. So after that, they had prescribed me a steroid, and still thinking to this day, thank God for my parents, they decided to go against a steroid use, and I instead changed my diet drastically, and I started taking Prilosec. Prilosec just kind of manages your stomach acid, which was exactly what I needed for a completely ulcerated stomach to be able to start to heal itself. So the diet change here was very drastic just to heal my stomach in that time period. So I took out anything and everything that could potentially upset my stomach, which means high acidity foods, any fruits and vegetables that could cause like gas, so cauliflower, broccoli, eggplant. Essentially for 6 months I was eating chicken, rice, some salad, not any sauces, not foods high in sugar, but this was just purely to heal all of the ulcers. So after that, I started to feel fine. The doctor also, from the biopsy that he did take out in my stomach, he found that the inflammation in my stomach was synonymous with food allergies. So he had me take out the 5 or 6 major food allergens, so gluten, dairy, eggs, shellfish, peanuts. What's the last one? I think there's one more. Dang, I can't remember it. But I eliminated all of those and slowly added them in a little bit at a time, and found that gluten and dairy were the things that gave me the most issues. So I just completely eliminated those. Later, I did get a blood test to find out I do have celiac, so makes sense. Then I was on the road to recovery. I started feeling better. And then I still didn't feel that great. So in order to do a few more tests, they did some blood tests. I also did the scratch test, which is basically where they kind of draw a huge grid on your back. You lay down, they scratch you with an individual allergen. So a lot of food allergens, dust, plants, that sort of thing. And it came up completely negative. It said that I had no issues with anything. And I knew for a fact that when I ate dairy, I got super sick. I knew that when I ate gluten, I got super sick. So it obviously wasn't showing up on a skin test, but I also knew that I could touch dairy and not feel sick. It was if I ingested it, that's when I felt sick. So I was still left with just gluten and dairy. And so that's what I stuck with. I just stayed away from those. And I started feeling better. Come the end of my senior year of high school, I graduate, I end up going off to college. The first semester was terrible, trying to figure out how to eat. Eating at home was easy. My parents and my whole family basically adjusted their meals so that I could eat them too. So it was always very inclusive. I always had something to eat. And my parents always made an attempt to make something my version if they were making something that the family was eating that I couldn't eat. So I get to college and I'm eating at a cafeteria, and the only foods they have for me here are certain cereals, pasta that tasted like plastic, and sometimes they're out of the pasta, and the salad bar, which had just iceberg lettuce, some peas, some diced up ham, cheese, which I couldn't eat, and the dressings were all cream based, so I was just eating olive oil and vinegar. And I could do that for a few months, and by that time I got fed up with seeing every single person I knew be able to eat all these foods, and I was like, I'm done. I'm gonna eat gluten and dairy. So come second semester, I ate a whole heck of a lot of gluten and dairy, and it showed. Not only did I gain about 30 pounds, I had extreme dark circles under my eyes. A lot of people with celiac will notice they get bumps, these white bumps on the back of their arms. Definitely had those. Tired all the time, extremely fatigued, bloated, all of the same gut symptoms I was having before. What else? I was breaking out. My hair was super thin. Like my hair was super, and my hair, it's curly. It looks like I have a lot. It's naturally thin hair. I had no hair and I was losing it by the day. I could go like this and just pull out a wad of hair. So that definitely was a big like flasher, like, okay, something's not right here. And I knew what wasn't right. I was eating the gluten and dairy. And so I go home and I realize I'm actually am sick and I can't eat these things. So I kind of detoxed that summer. And yeah, and then I go back to school sophomore year, and this time I'm living in an apartment, not living in the dorm, so I can cook my own meals. So here I was cooking everything gluten and dairy free, aside from the occasional accidental slip up. I was eating pretty much based on the diet I thought I should be eating, and I was still feeling very shitty. I was still having the GI issues, and a lot of anxiety and depression popped up my freshman year and my sophomore year. I was always tired. That mental fog was there. I had no motivation, but also I was in college. So all of these symptoms were symptoms that I was seeing a lot of people I know have. And so I attributed it to the very little sleep I was getting, the stress I was putting myself into, the drugs and alcohol I was consuming, the not so great foods I was eating. Yes, I was eating gluten and dairy free, but doesn't mean I was eating healthy. And so all of these things were happening. I would be constipated for days and then have diarrhea for days, burping every single time. Every time I ate, I know a burp here and there is fine. No, this was extreme. So and again, anxiety and depression, I thought it was all normal. So I just was like, okay, it's college, whatever. This is normal. This is how I'm supposed to feel. Well, lo and behold, it's not how you're supposed to feel. So I make it through college. I was a nutrition major, by the way, so still trying to figure it out, eating healthier and healthier every year. And so then come senior year, I'm eating pretty much plant-based diet. I'm still having the same issues a lot, like, again, constipation for days, then diarrhea for days, and then bloating, cramping, nausea, like, again, all the same symptoms I've been naming. And so then I graduate from college and I come home and I realize that all the external factors that I contributed my symptoms to were gone. I wasn't drinking anymore. The drugs weren't prevalent. I was getting plenty of sleep. I wasn't under that much stress. I was eating very healthy. My family essentially eats very, very healthy. So I was coming home to the perfect environment for healing, or so I thought. And I was still feeling terrible, and I come home and my symptoms got worse. This time, instead of the occasional diarrhea, it was every single time I ate. I would eat and have to run to the bathroom. I would eat and be bloated for hours, be cramping for hours. I was breaking out so much more than I ever have, and it's all right here and up here. And so it was getting pretty bad, and I'm at a loss here because I'm like, what the heck? I thought that I figured this out, and my symptoms are so much worse. So from here, a very, very, very wonderful soul I met through nutrition at my college had asked me if I had ever tried the low FODMAP diet and if I'd ever thought about maybe IBS. Well, what I'd known about IBS is that it was just kind of a blanket statement that physicians gave you when they didn't know what was wrong. And I was planning on going to a gastroenterologist. I had made an appointment, and my friend had said, try the low FODMAP diet first. And thank God he did, because I knew exactly I knew that if I went to the gastroenterologist, they would just tell me, oh, you might have IBS, you need to try the low FODMAP diet first. So I was ready to go through the low FODMAP diet and then see the gastro so that I could go there with notes, everything he needed to help heal me. So basically, if you don't know what the low FODMAP diet is, it eliminates a lot of carbohydrates from your diet, certain fruits, vegetables, grains, anything that could kind of upset the gut. And so, and garlic, fermented foods, what else? A lot of sugars though. And so I did the low FODMAP diet for about 2 months, and I felt better. I felt a lot better. But I was still feeling not that great. And now I was living with not only being allergic to gluten and dairy, but also thinking I can't have garlic, anything fermented, so no vinegars, no kombucha, no probiotics, no yogurt, no fermented vegetables, which I loved at that time, and no garlic, which was big because I use garlic in everything, and countless numbers of fruits and vegetables that I wasn't able to eat either. An apple, I could eat an apple. I would eat an apple and I would be sick for hours. So like really at a loss. I go to the gastroenterologist, lo and behold, they tell me, oh, you have IBS. Okay, yes, I have IBS. What now? Well, he said, we want to rule out anything else it could be, so I'm gonna have you do an endoscopy and to check for ulcers. Well, I know from my experience with the 10 to 15 ulcers I had exactly what an ulcer feels like. This pain wasn't ulcer pain. And I didn't want to have to go under and pay for an extremely invasive surgery if I knew that that wasn't what was going on. And so I kindly said, I don't think that's what was really going on. And he prescribed me digestive enzymes, which I was to take after every single meal. And I was totally okay with that. They helped for a little bit. I don't mind taking them for a short period of time, a couple months, 6 months maybe. But when I asked him how long I should take it, he said indefinitely. I'm not going to be on a pill for the rest of my life every single time I eat. There has got to be a different way to get around this. And so I decided to start to look into alternative therapies. And this is when I came upon acupuncture. And acupuncture has been a saving grace in my stomach journey. And I recommend it to not only people with gut issues, but anyone who has any sort of health ailment. Even if you don't have a health ailment, acupuncture is amazing. It was the first time I'd felt relief in years from these feelings I was having. If I knew, I could feel if I was on the verge of kind of a stomach eruption or episode, I guess you could say, and an episode would entail me feeling fine for a few days, and then I eat one thing, and then I am in excruciating pain for the next 3 days. And I lived life like this for years. I would live life almost just wondering on the verge when my stomach was gonna freak out. So it could be good for 3 days, and then I knew, okay, it's gonna happen again sometime soon. I would prepare myself. I'd eat something, even if it was something I knew I could eat it. I'd be in pain all the rest of that day. I wouldn't eat because anything I would eat would make me feel bad. And then for the next 3 to 4 days, I would also have to be careful about what I ate. It was not just a one-day process, it was a week-long process. If I had a stomach ache, then for the next week after that, for the first 2 days, I would just drink juices, and then in order to get some nutrients in me, and then after that I would start to add in solid foods, but it would still be a struggle. And then eventually my stomach would feel fine, and then I would be able to sort of eat regular foods again. But this was a process that I went through for years, just waiting for my stomach to freak out and then kind of having to scramble to deal with it after that. And so I had started to see an acupuncturist, and I saw my stomach freakouts episodes lower. The amount that they were happening, it would happen probably 4 or 5 times a month, and then it went down to 2 times a month, and then it went down to 1 time a month. And I was like, holy shit, this stuff is magic. And so I got to talking with my acupuncturist one day, and she had suggested that I see a naturopath. She asked me if I'd ever heard of SIBO. And SIBO is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And basically, bacteria from my large intestine got into my small intestine, sort of camped out, made a party, invited their friends, and now there's all sorts of bacteria hanging out in my gut where they're not supposed to be. And so I took her advice because I was desperate, and I saw a naturopath, and I don't think I've ever made a better decision in my whole life. Seeing the naturopath has completely changed my digestive health, just the health overall, and the direction I'm going to help try and solve it. So I saw a naturopath, and she basically sat down with me for an hour. And I've never had a doctor sit down with me and ask about every single issue from the very start of my symptoms to the very end. And it was I've never felt heard like that from a doctor before, and so just that alone made me want to come back to her. And so she sent me home with 2 tests, the SIBO test, which I drink a little bit of a sugary liquid, and then every 20 minutes for 3 hours I blow into a tube, label the tube, put it in a box, send it away to her. And basically what it does is it tracks the sugary liquid as it goes through my small intestine. Every 20 minutes it kind of moves through and then down to my larger intestine. And so it basically tracks my gut reaction to that liquid digesting. And then I did do a stool sample. So I took those home, did those tests, and mailed them back. And then a month later, when she had the results, I went back in and I was blown away with what we found. So basically what we found was that I do have SIBO, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and I also have Candida glabrata, not Candida albicans, which is the common one that is known in yeast infections, can represent itself as psoriasis, eczema, but nonetheless, I have a version of Candida. So, and these invaders have been in my gut for Lord knows how long, probably 8-9 years, the entire time I've been dealing with this. So they've camped out, they've made their home, and they're there to stay. And so she has given me some natural supplements to help combat that, and a change in my diet. But the thing that was different was that she flat out said, this is not going to be a quick journey. This did not happen overnight, and this isn't going to go away overnight. But she did give me a time frame, about 3 to 4 months. So I'm about a month now into treatment, and I'm feeling so much better, a lot better. And I can just tell my skin completely cleared up. And I've always had okay skin, but for the last year, here and here, it was constant. It never went away, never. And my stomach is feeling better. My mood has improved. Through all of my gut health issues, I struggled with anxiety and depression. And one thing that is very commonly known is that your gut health and your mental health are so interconnected. And it just shows that when my gut health was really crappy, so was my mental health. And when my gut gets bad, my anxiety is bad. And I also know that my anxiety is a trigger for my gut. And so if I know that my anxiety and depression is pretty high up, I know that I am likely to have a gut outburst, so to say. And so I just learned how to follow that cycle, but that cycle was never ending. And now, after talking to this naturopath and seeing exactly what's wrong with me, there's an end in sight. And I know that I'm always going to be allergic to gluten and dairy. That's something that will never change. But everything else does have the possibility to change. And it's been so freeing knowing that there is an end in sight. And so basically, I'm a month into treatment. I will talk to my naturopath again in a few days, actually, and see where to go from there. And yeah, I still see an acupuncturist once a week because that's something that really is something I need to keep up with, just in my overall general health, and I feel amazing. I've noticed a difference, so I will keep going. And yeah. So long story short, that's my entire gut health journey, and it's still a journey. There's no end right now, but there is improvement, and that's all that I care about, because there's been so many times when I just felt hopeless and lost, and I the amount of times I've broken down crying in a grocery store or at home because I don't know what the heck I'm gonna eat. I didn't know what to feed myself for so long because I got sick after eating anything and everything. And even foods I thought were safe still presented themselves as problem foods. So I was just really living this life of, wow, I hope my stomach doesn't hurt. Wow, I'm gonna eat this, I hope it doesn't hurt. And I got to the point where I was eating such a restricted diet that I'm like, this is no way to live. So yeah, that's my journey up until now. I will be doing a few more videos to explain my journey with the naturopath and go into more detail about her and my work with her and exactly what I'm taking and where I'm going from here. And of course, so many more videos about my journey to healing with Candida and SIBO. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. It means a lot. I hope that if you're out there struggling with digestive issues, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I have years of experience and yeah, I wouldn't wish this upon anyone, but it also has been such a trigger and it's turned my life into something I could have never imagined. If I didn't have these gut issues, I wouldn't be in the wellness industry that I am now. I wouldn't have majored in nutrition in college. I wouldn't be a yoga teacher. There's a lot of things that wouldn't have happened without this. Though it's not the best, it is what I was given and I have to deal with it, and I will deal with it the best I can. So again, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching and I will talk to you very soon.